and welcome to Discover Oklahoma. I'm Jennifer Reynolds.
And I'm Dean O'Lally. Our location for today's show, this is a great store actually. It's the museum store at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum.
The museum itself is magnificent, but the store here is really one of my favorites. From gorgeous jewelry, especially turquoise and silver, to Western wear and really unique Western and Oklahoma pieces, you can spend hours in this store, find all kinds of unique gift items and a souvenir to take home from the museum.
Another place where you can while away the hours, of course, is that's on an Oklahoma lake. And Tina McGarry recently took her family to Texoma, and they came back with some fun fish tales to tell.
As the sun rises and beautiful Lake Texoma begins to come alive, my family sat down to breakfast with dozens of other fishermen and guides. It's a daily ritual at the floating Alberta Creek restaurant. Good food and good conversation as fishermen tell their tales and plan for the day's adventure. We loaded up and hit the water with Sparky's Guide Service for a day of striper fishing.
We're fishing for a striper. It's a striped bass. In the ocean, it's called a sea bass.
Larry Sparks has made his living on these waters, an expert fisherman and guide with a lifetime of experience. He has customers come from around the world to fish Lake Texoma.
It's a very phenomenal. There's only about 5 or 6 lakes in the state, United States, that self-produce the striper, and this is probably the #1 self-producing lake in the United States.
All right. There's another one. My role is to catch the bait, find the fish, and make sure everybody has a great time.
Meet Little David, known as one of Texoma's best. He's been a guide here for 20 years.
90% of the time, when we come out here, it's always going to be a successful trip.
He knows the lake, knows the fish, and he can turn anyone into a fisherman.
I just feel the fish pulling it down, so I reeled it in.
Oh, good job. Can anybody come out here and catch fish? Who's caught the most fish today? Right here. Raise your hand, lady. So, she's caught the most. I'm probably the oldest on the boat. I've caught the least, and everybody else has caught fish. So, you know, I would say anybody can come out and do this, and that's what makes this a great sport, and it makes our job a lot easier and we have a lot of fun doing this.
All you need is a fishing license and a cooler with your favorite drinks. Professional guides like Sparky provide everything else.
It is something that anybody can do. You know, we furnish the bait, the tackle, the fishing rods. All you got to do is just come. I mean, we make it pretty easy for you to come down and have a good time.
We have 3 of the largest boats on Lake Texoma, 32-foot silver dollar guide boats. All the electronics on the boat are brand new, the state of the art. They show us exactly where the fish are, and we can usually find the fish. And like 95% of the time, we're going to catch fish.
And even when you've reeled in the last one, the guide's job is not over.
We'll go in and we'll clean the fish, bag them for you. When you walk off the docks, you'll be ready to have a fish fry.
Lake Texoma is one of the largest reservoirs in the United States, with 89,000 acres of lake surface. My family was thrilled to experience its world-class fishing.
It's been a good day overall. I'm glad I came to it. It's been fun.
This has been a really good family day, one that I'll never forget, and my kids will certainly always remember too. On Lake Texoma, I'm Tina McGarry, reeling it in and discovering Oklahoma.
Big fish. Like I said, Eddie, we're going to stay a little longer.
This is a great time to go ahead and invite everybody out there to visit an Oklahoma lake this summer.
You can find out more about our lakes, rivers, and all sorts of outdoor locations in the 2015 Oklahoma Outdoor Guide. Getting a copy is very easy. Just log on to our website, travelok.com, and click on Request Free Brochures. From the great outdoors to a fun way to see city sights.
I don't know why they didn't ask me to do this story, considering my experiences on wheeled vehicles in this show, but for some reason they had Jason Grubbs do it. He hops on a Segway to take a tour of Tulsa.
More fun on two wheels than anything you'll ever ride, for sure.
Amanda Harris isn't talking about a bike or motorcycle.
Excuse us, thank you.
She's talking about the two battery-powered wheels of a Segway.
I got started with Tulsa Segway, riding a Segway.
Before she opened her downtown location, Amanda spent some time on a Segway while on vacation.
And that's what got me to thinking, you know, maybe Tulsa's ready for this.
That's when Tulsa Segway was born.
We give guided tours of downtown Tulsa. We go all the way down to One Oak and Guthrie Green and Reconciliation Park.
The tours can host up to 8 people and last about 2 hours. You go all over downtown learning about the history of some of the buildings, architecture, and some of the events down here.
Our instructor really knew a lot about Tulsa. It was very informative and we had a blast.
I definitely think if you're interested at all in learning about where you're at, even if you're traveling.
Don't worry if you haven't been on one of these before. You'll get some training before heading out, starting with a quick safety video.
The Segway PT is a breakthrough technology, but it's not magic.
They do sign a waiver, they are required to wear a helmet, and then we do a one-on-one training with them. We want to make sure that they can start and stop and turn before we go out into the city.
These latest models have lean steer technology, so you basically become one with the machine.
If you're on there and you lean to the right, it's going to start going to the right. Lean forward, it goes forward. Lean to the left, it goes left.
I felt it and I just went with it.
Most people can get the hang of it within a few minutes.
After about 15 minutes on it, now people start doing a little hot rodding and having a good time.
It was easy. It was really fun.
Tulsa Segway does tours every day of the week and Sundays by appointment. Feel free to just stop by.
It's beautiful today and I wanted to have a tour.
Or call ahead to get the exact date and time you want. Be prepared for a lot of smiles and waves from people on the sidewalks and drivers.
I thought it was really interesting. I had a lot of fun. I would say definitely come check it out. It's a great opportunity. It's great for local business. I think it really helps promote the area and growth in Tulsa in general.
In downtown Tulsa, I'm Jason Grubbs for Discover Oklahoma.
If you'll be in the Tulsa area, the new Tulsa Guide has everything you need to know about where to eat, shop, stay, and have a great time. Get your copy on travelok.com. Just click on Request Free Brochure.
Coming up, your chance to get outdoors and enjoy one of our state's most beautiful spots.
You know, it really is a jewel here in South Central Oklahoma.
And lunch at the lake never tasted so good.
Is that not just awesome?
That is awesome.
You know you want some right now, don't you?
Where to find these chocolate nachos coming up right here on Discover Oklahoma.
Great travel tips anytime, like Discover Oklahoma on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Every night, sit alone and talk and watch a hawk
making lazy circles
in the sky.
We know we belong
To the land,
and the land we
belong to his hand.
So when we say,
We're only saying you're doing fine.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, come see for yourself.
Welcome back to Discover Oklahoma, coming to you from the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, where we're doing a little shopping in the museum store.
What people don't know, there's a 50% off sale, all off, right off camera. It'll be a miracle if we can keep her for the rest of the show.
He's trying to keep me away from it.
You know, there are so many beautiful items in here. But if you happen to be looking to go out and enjoy, say, some great Oklahoma landscapes, we've got a deal for you. Come with me now to the Chickasaw Nation Recreational Area in Sulphur.
Water is everything. Water can mean growth, survival, different kinds of power. There are those who have sought out water's power for emotional and physical healing, as medicine and a spiritual renewal of sorts. And now the power of water in the form of relaxation still attracts thousands every year to the Chickasaw National Recreation Area. Established in 1976, it was originally the Platte National Park and the Arbuckle Recreation Area. They were combined to protect the mineral and freshwater springs in the area. People have always believed in the healing power of the waters found here.
The freshwater springs, the mineral springs, the artesian wells, that was really what this area was preserved for. And so as you travel through this old historic district of the park, you'll see many of those features are still here. Many of the springs are still here, as the Vendome well is behind us. And many of those areas that drew people here in the early part of the 19th century are still visible today.
What part of the park are we in now?
In the Flower Park area. We're crossing Travertine Creek across Lincoln Bridge here.
So the fall behind us actually runs into this creek.
That's correct.
Okay. And I have to ask you, what's it like to have this as your office?
Oh, it's great. This is a great office setting. Everyone should be so fortunate.
There is a magic, a feeling of tranquility that flows through here, much like the water from one of the many springs. And that magic can now come through various activities.
There's boating, fishing, skiing, a lot of those activities. Camping, very popular in this area and has been for generations. So as you go through the entire park, there's a lot of those types of activities that are available to people.
Arbuckle Lake is a freshwater lake into which many of the springs flow.
We have wonderful fishing. We have largemouth bass, we have some smallmouth bass, crappie, sunfish. Kids love to get sunfish. So it really is a sportsman's paradise down there when it comes to fishing.
There's an abundance of hiking trails, many of which run through the Old Platte Historic District, and other trails lead to the lake area. The Travertine Nature Center sits in the middle of the park for all to explore, and visitors from around the world come here regularly to visit.
And it really is a jewel here in south central Oklahoma. There's this feeling of peace and serenity when you're walking along some of these natural springs and natural creeks.
The town of Sulphur is connected to the park in a unique way, and the Chickasaw National Recreation Area is a perfect place to come and spend time with one's family, and that can be wonderful medicine indeed.
And I think it's really not that well known. We're kind of a well-kept secret. We don't necessarily want to be.
You can find a detailed map of the Chickasaw National Recreation Area on our website, travelok.com. It will show you different trails, picnic areas, boat ramps, and campsites. Coming up, beautiful works of art.
It's been around for 2,000 years, but there's very few people do it.
Meet the maker of some of Oklahoma's most intricate stained glass.
And Jeff Roberts takes us to his favorite lunch spot at Lake Tenkiller.
All right, here we go.
Where he finds the best burgers a little later, right here on Discover Oklahoma.
Hot off the press, order your free copy of the 2015 Oklahoma Outdoor Guide and get an all-access pass to the very best places, attractions, and activities Oklahoma has to offer. Go online to travelok.com and order your free copy today. It glows in the dark.
Welcome back to Discover Oklahoma, coming to you from the museum store at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum.
And there are so many great works of art, not only here, but out in the museum as well.
And our Quinn Tran has found some beautiful artworks that are scattered all across Oklahoma City.
Travel the state. Look closely in the metro. Chances are the stained glass windows were crafted by this Edmund man. Tim Brown is a glass artist. Over the past 30 years, he has mastered the craft of painting on glass.
It's been around for 2,000 years, but there's very few people do it, and then even fewer that can do some of the techniques that I do, like painting on glass or engraving on glass. The first rule of glass is that glass breaks, and it's going to break when you don't want it to. You have to have a lot of patience. You have to be willing to do the same thing over 100 times if it takes it.
He has created art out of thousands of pieces of glass. His stained glass adds color to Oklahoma landmarks like the chapel at Camp Gruber, Kaiser's Diner, the historic building in Midtown, and one of the most recognized venues, the Oklahoma State Capitol.
And this is the part that I did in here, all of this painted work inside here.
About 200 pieces of painted glass form the state seal, Thousands more pieces fill the rest of the Capitol dome.
People are always standing there looking up at the dome and just in awe of how big it is or how small it looks. And that's a neat thing for people to be able to see in our Capitol. And we were the last ones to put a dome on our Capitol. The satisfaction of getting something done, put it into the light, because we're really playing with light. We're playing with colored glass. So it's that experience, that first time you see it up off the table in the window is really magical.
He takes on any challenge, big or small, painted, stained or not, just as long as it involves glass. At the newly built Artesian Hotel in Sulphur, an 8-foot tall glass piece pays tribute to the hotel's past. Etched right in the glass is an image of the original Artesian Hotel.
They had the original photograph of the old hotel, and they brought that to me, and so we sandblasted that. Is right in the entryway of the Artesian Hotel. That was a neat piece to be involved with.
His portfolio is thick and goes beyond Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat feeling to be able to go to several countries. We did one in Berlin, we did some in Japan, Stockholm.
When it comes to a glass masterpiece, there isn't a spot for an artist's signature. For Tim Brown, what matters most is keeping the art form alive. Create glass art that will last a lifetime.
Everything that I build, hopefully, is going to last for 150 years or more. The satisfaction that you get when you work so hard for weeks or months or years, and then you get to go to the church and see what you've done and how beautiful it is.
In Edmond, Quintran, Discover Oklahoma.
Of course, one of the best places to see Tim's work for yourself is at our state capitol, and it's always open to the public.
It's wonderful. The scenery's great, and the food's great, and the people are really nice.
The hot spot on Lake Tencolor where everyone's stopping for lunch, and this delicious dessert next on Discover Oklahoma.
And the waving wheat.
T-shirt smells sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
We know we belong to the land. And the land we belong to is grand. So when we say,
we're only saying you're doing fine, Oklahoma, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, come see for yourself.
This portion of Discover Oklahoma is brought to you by the Heartland Flyer. Book your ticket through Southern Oklahoma today.
Welcome back to Discover Oklahoma. You know, as the temperatures start to go up this time of year, you don't have to sweat it. Just got to head to the lake.
And no trip is complete without a stop to grab some really tasty food. And Jeff Roberts is going to take us to one of his favorite restaurants at Lake Tencolor.
Now this is the life. Okay, we're at Soda Steve's here in eastern Oklahoma, and it could be maybe the best hidden treasure for hamburgers and chocolate nachos and even washing your hands in it. Oh, that's pretty close. We'll find out more in the kitchen.
Soda Steve, me, and these two patties will create the Royale.
This is a little trick that a guy taught me a long time ago that works really great. This is our charbroiler right here, and you'll notice and watch these burgers. We're gonna let those things cook until this, see this right here? That blood starts to pool. Well, when that blood starts to pool pretty regularly on both of those things, that's when we flip. Oh, looks like it's time to flip. See how we got some little pooling going on right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and flip those things right in the same spot.
All right, here we go.
Now.
I messed up a little bit.
No,
there.
you did good. No, perfect.
There we go. Oh, look, we get it on top there.
There you go. Perfect. Now we'll just let that go.
Now we'll let that go.
A lot of times when I'm doing that, I'll flip the ones in the back first because you get that flame up, and that way you don't have to reach across the towering inferno to get it.
and burn your arm hair and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
So now, this is important. Reach under there and hold it with one hand while you move it with the other, and don't drop it in between, because I've done that. I only tell you these mistakes because I made them before.
All right, ready,
now put your thumb right there.
Ready.
There you go.
Oh, look at there. So, The picture out front and the one I just made, I think I at least get a C. Don't you think I get a C?
I'd say more than a C.
So Steve, we did finish up the Royale. Didn't do too bad there. One of the things, now, you call it something different, but I call it a chocolate nacho, which is what we're going to work on now. You call it a hot fudge chocolate.
Yes, it's actually called hot fudge nachos.
Okay, and so that kind of gives it away, but if you tell people a chocolate nacho, it's funny to watch their face because they're like, what?
Yeah.
Is that not just awesome?
That is awesome.
You know you want some right now, don't you?
Don't just take my word on how cool a place Soda Steve's is.
It's wonderful. The scenery's great and the food's great and the people are really nice, so yeah, definitely.
So the next time you're in eastern Oklahoma near the 10 Killer area and you want a great burger, you got to make it Soda Steve's. And just walk in and say, Discover Oklahoma, say, come on in.
If you're looking for great dining destinations that are worth the drive, pick up a copy of the current Oklahoma Today magazine. The entire issue is devoted to food. You'll find it on newsstands now or log on to oklahomatoday.com for subscription information.
Big thanks to the folks here at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum store for hosting us this week. We want to show you this. Isn't that gorgeous? I know. This is a limited edition 50th anniversary Pendleton blanket that they're taking orders for through June 10th. It's to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum.
Coming up next Saturday on Discover Oklahoma, we're headed off-road in the beautiful Wichita Mountains. Don't miss our look at mountain biking.
And a peek at the incredible renovations at one of Oklahoma's state parks. The hot spot everybody's going to want to stay this summer. Coming up next Saturday night on Discover Oklahoma.
So until next time, remember,
there's always something to discover in Oklahoma. Our intrepid Ford Explorer is provided by the Oklahoma Ford Dealers, official partner of the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department.
We are really excited. We started out back in April when it came out on auction, and we didn't know what was going to happen to the place. You know, we didn't want to see this historic building go downhill or be used for something different. We thought it needed to stay a winery. And of course, my husband and Art had been doing grapes for quite some time, so it seemed like a natural thing to jump in.
But this kind of pruning helps delay bud break, so it'll give us a little better chance that these things aren't going to freeze to death with a sudden drop in temperature this spring.
Sweet Jimmy Jane was named after a lady drumwright, Jimmy Cook, who instigated getting all the murals put up throughout the town. And so we named it after her in her honor.
We've used those murals on all of our labels. It gives our winery labels a real unique local flavor and historical flavor. And it's our tribute to Jimmy, Sweet Jimmy, in this wine.
Yeah.
It's interesting, it's turned out to be the best seller.
Yeah, it was by far our biggest seller.
Thursday event went really well. We were right at capacity in how many people we can actually allow into the banquet room. Joseph's Fine Foods, they offered an amazing buffet that was out that night. The buffet for the next one sounds just as delicious, so I'm looking forward to that one too.
We've had a lot of people who have really gone out of their way to be helpful and to help make this a success. So I say, yay, thank you, and we look forward to more fun times together.